Alright, what's going on guys? It's Abson here. Today I'll be doing a Krunker Rig 1.0 tutorial. I'll be covering how to install, how to use, and how to make a render with Krunker Rig. Before you buy Krunker Rig, please make sure you have Cinema 4D. Krunker Rig doesn't work with Blender or Maya or any other 3D modeling programs. But the only official place to buy Krunker Rig from is from my website. It's absent.myshopify.com. But once you buy it, you'll be given an email with a download link and you'll get a .zip folder. The .zip folder will look something like this. So just go ahead and extract everything. I've already done it. But the contents of the .zip are Krunker skins, which are all the dies and all the class skins, I guess. You'll get Krunker Rig 1.0. Krunker weapons, which are all the weapon models such as knives, pistols, primaries, secondaries, everything. We have a readme.txt, which no one seems to read, and an update log, which I just like to keep it along with there with Krunker Rig, just to know what I've done with it. It's just a nice little thing to have. So to install Krunker Rig, you want to locate your C drive. So open up your C drive. Go to program files, not the x86 one, just normal program files. Open up Maxon, Cinema 4D R19. This might be different for you depending on what version you have, so just select the version you have. I'll open up Cinema 4D R19, go to library, and then browser. So after that, you just want to highlight Krunker Rig and Krunker weapons, and then copy and paste them over, or click and drag. I've already done it, so I won't do that. But that's it for the installation. Now just go ahead and open up Cinema 4D. So once you have Cinema 4D open, it may look a bit confusing, but don't worry, it's really easy to use. If you do get stuck, there's a million tutorials out there on how to use it. So go YouTube search some, or Google it, or whatnot. But to begin with, I'll show you how to import Krunker Rig into your scene. So on the right hand side here, you have objects, and then you have tasks, and then content browser. So you want to click on content browser, and it should look something like this. Just open up Krunker Rig. It should be this folder right here. So double click on that, and then double click on Krunker Rig, the little model, and it will import straight into your scene. It will import it onto the 000 position. So that's where it will be. It depends if you've got like a huge scene, you know, with a bunch of buildings or whatnot. But it will import onto 000. So to use Krunker Rig controls, which are the red, orange, and blue things you see here in the middle of the screen, it's really easy. Some of them you only move, such as the hands, and it will make the elbows bend. So I'll show you that now. So something like this is what you want to do. You know, you can move it literally in any direction, which is really easy to use. The neck control, you only want to rotate it, because if you move it, it will go flying, and you don't want to behead your Krunker Rig. Here we have the waist control, I guess, or the rib control. I'm not sure what to call it, but it's the upper body, which you can rotate just like this. The middle one is sort of just a twerk control, so you can make them twerk. Yeah, I don't know why I added that one, don't ask me, boys. And then here we have the hip control, which is one of the most important ones. It's linked to everything upwards, so this will move all the arms, the neck, the body, and this is a very important one to use. So this one you can rotate, and you can also shift it down with the move tool to bend the knees. And then we have the feet control, which are really easy to use. You know, just move them up and down if you need to, something like that. So Krunker Rig's really easy to use. I made it like that specifically for you guys to make thumbnails and whatnot. But now we'll get into the 1.0 options. So to get to the 1.0 options, you want to make sure Krunker Rig here on the right hand side is selected, and it will bring up all this down here on the very right hand side. So object is selected, along with 1.0 options by default. So you just want to click on 1.0 options here. Make sure you drag this out so that you can see the little bubble with the 3 dots. And I'll go through everything one by one. So the first thing I'll cover is scale. So this changes the size of Krunker Rig depending on how big you want him. Very easy to use, very simple. The next thing I'll cover is the fancy feet. So if you're an animator, you should know what fancy feet are, but if you don't, I'll show it right here. So as you can see, the feet or the bottom of the feet stay parallel with the ground, somewhat parallel, but they stay parallel with the ground, and that's what fancy feet is. It looks really nice, as you can see. It's nice for renders and whatnot. But if you're an animator and let's say you do a run cycle, something like this, you can see it breaks. So what you want to do is go back into 1.0 options, and you can just toggle these off, as you can see. And then you'll have a super clean run cycle now. So that's pretty much it for the fancy feet. The next thing I'll cover is the skin. So this is where you change the, what class Krunker Rig is. So what you want to do is click on the 3 dots and then navigate to your Krunker Skins folder that came with the .zip download. And for this tutorial, I'm going to put on Cold Snap, just because it's a super nice dye. You can put any other class or any other dye that you want. RGB is a little harder to do because that's hard coded into the game and it's not actually a texture. So that's a little harder to do and animate. So I've left that out. You can do it in Photoshop or After Effects if you want to. But yeah, that's it for the skin. Now the best part of Krunker Rig is that it comes with the hat and the back items, as you can see here. So to use these, it is as simple as clicking and dragging and finding the hat that you want. So for this tutorial, I'll put on one of these ones, this one. So this one's quite nice. So I'm going to show you another little thing here, another little Krunker Rig tip. So in the game, we have a new sort of type of head items. So I'll put on the Soul Reaper, and as you can see here, the head for the Krunker model completely disappears when you put this on. So if I go default, if it wants to work, obviously it doesn't. These are back items, my bad. So as you can see here, you have the head, and then when you put Soul Reaper on, the head completely disappears. So to do this with Krunker Rig, you want to click the little plus on the left hand side of it. You want to open up the mesh plus and then mesh head here. You'll have a box and then 2 little dots. So you just want to put the 2 little dots onto red by double clicking them. And then as you can see, the head disappears, but you keep the head item. Now for the back items, it's as simple as clicking and dragging and finding the one you want. So I'll put this one on. And that's pretty much it. For the Krunker Rig 1.0 options and how to use it. Now the next thing I'll show you is how to add weapons. So once again, you want to go to Content Browser, click the little back arrow till where you get till you get this view. Open up Krunker Weapons. My bad, boys. Open up Krunker Weapons, and then let's say we want an AWP. So I'll double click on primaries because I know the AWP is a primary weapon. Go back into objects, and then you'll have all of these. Find the one that you want. So mine's at the top here. Click and drag it out of primaries, and then you can delete all the primaries and don't worry about all these materials. So now that we have the AWP, let's say you want to get a specific skin onto it. So I've downloaded a specific skin, a Season 3 one that I know glows. So if you guys are confused on how to get the glowing skins into Cinema 4D, I'll show you right now. So here you'll have the AWP, and then you'll have the material attached to it here at the end. So just double click that, and you'll see that the material looks like this, and it'll also highlight it here in the material editor. So I'll double click on my material, bring up the material editor, and here it will have color. So this is where you want to select your sniper skin or your weapon skin, not the _E one. The _E is the emission file. So you want to open up the default one. Just click open, click no, and then make sure the sampling is set to none for the best quality. Now to get the glowing on, you want to click on luminance and just tick it, and you'll see your skin goes white. But don't worry about that. Now you just want to get your texture by clicking on the 3 dots and clicking the emissive file and opening that up. Click no, and then click on none. And then just close out of this, and here you'll see the weapon has all the glowing parts. It won't pulsate like it does in game because that's coded into the game. But don't worry about it. If you want to see the glowing work, here you have it. Just like that. And then now you can put the AWP. You might need to rescale it a bit, but that's alright. Rotate it. Chuck it in his hand. I'll do it really roughly for the tutorial. And then that's about it, I guess. For all the controls, the options, and how to get weapons and weapon skins onto your models. The next thing is how to make a render. So up here at the top you'll see a clipboard with a little square, and then a clipboard with a cogwheel, and that's your settings. So that's your render settings. We'll open that up. We'll click on output, and this is where you want to type 1920 by 1080 for, you know, for decent quality. Make sure it's on current frame down here on frame range. And then under here in save, you want to just click where you want to save it to. I'll save it into my Krunker Rig 1.0 folder, and we'll do tutorial render. Make sure you change the format here to PNG, if I can find it. There we go. And then also make sure you have alpha channel selected. Next thing you want to do is just position it how you want, and then click the middle sort of clipboard render to picture viewer. That's what it's called. And you just want to click on that, and it'll bring up the render window, and it should do it pretty easily, just like that. And now if I open up my Krunker Rig folder, we'll have a render. Simple as that, boys. That's how you use Krunker Rig. If you're planning on buying it, thank you. If you've already bought it, thank you. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I appreciate it a lot. I hope I didn't go too fast. And I hope you guys could follow along. But yeah, thank you guys.